What's up, guys? Okay, today in the videos that I assigned, we were covering like persecution of early Christians and specifically the crucifixion of Jesus and kind of getting into what crucifixions were. And then you have this Q&A post to respond to. So like a couple things. One thing for your notes that I probably should have included on one of those first posts, but if you have your notes out and handy, I would add this term in. In some of the videos, it talked about like how the pagans were persecuting the Christians. If you're not familiar with the term pagan, 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 essentially when you're looking at it like from a Western religion or like Christianity or Jewish, perspective, a pagan is just like a non-Christian, like a non-believer. And specifically like in Europe and the Middle East, the pagans back from 2,000 years ago would have been the people that primarily were like they believed in a pantheon of gods, like they believed in all the Greek or Roman gods, where there's Zeus and Hera and Achilles and all of these like gods and then semi-gods and things like that. But it's the old Greek and Roman mythology, or then you have like the Celtic religions that are up north, like the barbarian religions that the people up in Germany and northern France and Britain had practiced back from this era. But the pagan religion or the pagans would be like basically lumping all of those other religions that are not Christian or not Jewish together. So hopefully that kind of makes sense for you. And then crucifixion, hopefully you watch the videos on that. I find some of those videos super fascinating. I think we have it kind of set in our head, like pretty much I would think everybody that lives in the United States today, whether you are a Christian or not, has a rough idea of the story of Jesus and that he was killed on a cross and he was resurrected 3 days later. And that's kind of the story, or maybe it was actual events, or maybe it's the Christian mythology, however you choose to view it. Anyway, I think a lot of people, like they kind of know that story, but they don't maybe think about it real deeply. And you see like people with cross tattoos and people that always wear crosses on their necklace, and very, very common. It's a ubiquitous, like symbol that we see in our society. It has very deep cultural roots, the cross I'm talking about. But did you ever stop and think about it, that actually the cross is like an ancient world torture device? What a horrific thing that we're all walking around, or not all of us, but a lot of people are walking around with this old torture method and device on there. Now, there's also a lot of like big misconceptions about how the crucifixion panned out. Like one I'll give you, for example, is you often see an imagery where Jesus has like stakes, and he's put onto the cross and he has stakes right through his hands, like, and has those marks going through there where they hammer in these big pegs onto the boards. Actually, and I think they spoke to this in one of the videos. If not, I've seen so many different ones in commentary on like crucifixions and how they actually played out. That would have been like, that's a good example of a misconception, that would have been impossible, because if you hang a human body with just two pegs through the hands and most of the weight is getting dispersed onto that, it's going to rip right through your hands. Your hand is not designed to hold that, like a nail going through it and holding up your body weight. So like Jesus, who knows exactly how his crucifixion played out, but they would either had to peg him in through the wrist where you had bone that would lock it in, or they more likely just tied him up to the cross and then also banged in nails into him, just as kind of a form of torture. But a lot of crucifixions too aren't actually like shaped like the cross, the big T that we think of. A lot of times Romans would just kind of makeshift crucify people, and they would impale them, or it would be, the cross would look more like an X, or it would look more like a T, like that. So anyway, I don't know that there was just one form right way of doing it, but because it's covered so much in religion and so much part of our heritage, we kind of, I think, have this image, whether you're religious or not, of how the crucifixion played out. But in reality, maybe it wasn't quite so much like that. So I'm kind of babbling here, but I have a couple questions for you on today's Q&A. You should have definitely watched the videos on the crucifixion videos first, and then just do a little bit of deep thinking on it and give me a good response to those. I'm going to put the due date out a little bit because I know it's a weird week with the building being shut down and everything, and I imagine a lot of you guys are staying up late and sleeping in. So I'm going to push the due date out for this Q&A until tomorrow at the end of the day, but make sure you respond to that that before the deadline, because remember, Q&As are the one thing that I do not take late. So you got over 24 hours to respond to it. Make sure you get a good, solid sentences of response to me on this one. Take care.